So I knew that getting the money home was always going to be kind of difficult anyway. And again, when you get down to it, I work for that time off. I mean, I would never be happy using every one of my days off to go and do some money-making thing that had something to do with my job. Now, if I could fix guitars all weekend, because I can kind of sit there and level frets and do setups and stuff while I'm watching TV or whatever. So it's not really kind of the same type of work. Whenever I do have to get work done on my days off that I know I'm going to have to do, I generally get up early and get it done so I can have the rest of my day. I'm very much about my time off. And really, like I said, I think these guys were too, and they were just kind of trying to get money. Again, nothing personal towards the person that made this comment. I don't know him well, so I'm talking about the people I knew. Come to think of it, the last place I worked, we had these two, this couple there, and I think we wanted like 16 hours a week out of them, right? And we really just wanted, let's call them Mike and June. We really just wanted Mike, because Mike was a quote-unquote business professional, but all he really did was go up and do English corners that had business terms in them, and we came to realize that anybody could do that. So that kind of helped in our decision eventually to get rid of these two. But these two came in. Well, Mike came in, and we wanted 16 hours a week from him, right? So, but the thing is, there's only 6 classes a day at that particular institution. 6 classes a day. You usually get there an hour early, and then 6 classes a day, and then an hour lunch, and then another hour for like prep or office time. So that might sound pretty easy, but it was harder than it seemed. Well, that meant that probably what we would have done is had Mike do 6 hours one day, 6 hours another, and like 4 hours one day. And sometimes that happened where you kind of had a light day or you had one less class. So that's probably how we would have set it up. But Mike was like, no. What we're going to do, these two are British. A lot of British people working in China. No, here's what we're going to do. You're going to hire me, and we're going to hire my wife, and you're not going to give us a lunch or anything like that, and we're both going to do 8 hours in one day, and there's your 16 hours. Okay, well, that's not too bad. And sometimes they'd even do 2 days, so we'd get like 32 teaching hours out of them. Technically, we were supposed to. Each week. But then there kind of started to be some problems. One, like I said, Mike wasn't really, my director of studies was American, so he wasn't really, he's a pretty smart dude for being a young guy, and caught on to things real well. And he's like, Mike's not doing anything special, really. But he is British. He can teach British English, which some students want to learn, and all of his English corners have something to do with business. That's the thing. So, regardless of who else can do it, it's kind of good that that's happening. And then sometimes, they'd teach in Hankou across the river, and they'd teach in Wuchang. And all of us had to go to Hankou. I worked mainly in Wuchang, but all of us had to go to Hankou across the river there, like once every couple of weeks at least. Usually it's once a week, but once every couple of weeks for like a month. And then they'd rotate you out of it for a little bit, so your travel expenses weren't as high. So they were doing all right. They were a little more popular at the Hankou office. But one day, June caught these Chinese girls they seemed to be taking a liking to Mike, right? And these two are married, right? So she kind of throws a fit about it, and she leaves. So there's 8 hours gone right there. And then Mike's like, well, and maybe it's 7 hours or 6 or whatever. They'd maybe already taught a couple of classes or whatever. Then Mike's like, well, my wife's having a hard time, so I'm just going to go and deal with her. I'm sorry. And that kind of happened a few times. And then my director of studies, who doesn't teach as many classes anyway, and remember, these guys didn't have a lunch. Sorry about that. They didn't have a lunch, so they were just going. Go back to sleep, sweetie. Go to sleep. 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 You'll get it. Oh, there you go. There you go. Good girl. So, they didn't have a lunch. They just taught like all the way through, just relentless. Because there were students who already ate, and like they could go to a lunchtime class. Now, there was one time where I had just a thunderous migraine, and it was just building and building and building all day, and like the last half hour of my last class of the day, I told my student, look, I'm about to puke and pass out. I can't go. We'll do this on my day off. Can you come back, this day and this time? He said, yeah, and I came back and taught him his class from the beginning again. He got half an hour of it, but I started from day one, or from slot one. So, but Mike and June kind of missed a lot of classes, and we were always having to sacrifice our lunch hour and our office hour then to get their classes taught, and then that's more classes that we have to teach every day that they don't complete. So that sort of started to become a problem, and the fact that they were married started to really become a problem. Again, June was sort of an average teacher at best, and Mike was just pulling the wool over people's eyes. So, so it's kind of a big problem, and it always kind of turns out to be a problem with these part-timers. There's always something, they don't have stable schedules, or they schedule them for something, and then their normal job kicks back into full force again, and they can't do it, or this, that, or the other. But, aside from those problems, like, I just don't get what people are. You should really just value your time off. I mean, I really do. I get 3 days off a week now. It'd be nice to have a little more money, a little more hours, but I really like it. I hear Sweden has a 32-hour work week. They just pay people more. And they have a 32-hour work week. Like 4 9-hour days with a lunch. It's essentially what I work, and I think that's good. I think and like I said, I know I'm going to be busy soon when my guitar repair thing gets going. So, but that'll be busier doing something I'm more comfortable doing and can do and have sort of leisure time at the same time. So I don't quite understand that mentality. I understand. I guess you just got to be the type of person who really values money. Isn't like I've said before as well? I mean, China. I made just marginally more money in China per month than I did here. I made more money working for Microsoft here in the U.S. than I did working for institutes over in China. 8,500 RMB a month back when the exchange was like 6.7. So, I mean, not a whole lot of money, and I went through it pretty quick too. It didn't, my lifestyle didn't really change too much. I still kind of thought I could get away with doing the same things, and my money disappeared just as quickly. So, I could understand like making a little bit more of it, and there were times where I had to do little extra things here and there to just pay my rent or whatever. But I'm a big fan of time off, and I think people should probably take more of it. And I'm really hoping that at some point in this country we get to the point where people won't have to put as much of their time into working. People keep saying the minimum wage is going to raise, but my point to that is one, when, and two, that's all relative anyway, because they just start raising prices. So it doesn't actually turn out to be more money within a couple of years. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. But I do have a few things to do, even though it's not all that late. So I'm going to go ahead and call this video here. I haven't had too many two-parters lately, so there you are. Good night, everybody. Goemonronin out.